Welcome, everyone. I am Brian McCall, Editor-in-Chief of Catholic Family News, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Abby Johnson. Thank you for joining us to speak with our viewers today.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for having me.
I'm sure she probably needs no introduction for most of our viewers and listeners, but her life is the subject of an incredible film, Unplanned, which premiered. I actually saw it in the theater shortly after it came out, and we've highly recommended it in the newspaper, as you know. It tells an incredible conversion story of, Mrs. Johnson's working for Planned Parenthood and then coming to see the truth about abortion and getting out of it. So you can, here's the website for the movie. You can purchase it, access it in many different ways, and again, highly encourage it. Others may know her from her incredible speech at the Republican National Convention that occurred just a couple of weeks ago, which was really one of the most powerful moments in it. So you've obviously done a lot of speaking, a lot out there, but there's an aspect I thought our viewers might really be interested in learning about, and that is your charitable work to help people like you used to be, right, who were working for Planned Parenthood to leave. And a lot of our people who've been involved in pro-life know a lot about sidewalk counseling and how to approach women and how to get women who are thinking of aborting their child to stop. But I don't know if many people are aware of this outreach. So maybe you can explain the origin of it and why we should care about it, I guess, because people might think, well, shouldn't we go after women? Why would we want to do this?
Yeah. I started in Then There Were None in 2012. I mean, really after sort of looking around the pro-life movement and saying, okay, so what's out there for people like me, people who used to work in the abortion clinic, who, they want to leave their job. I was blessed, right? I had this amazing support system. I had a great husband. I have a great husband. I have amazing parents. I was, raised in a Christian home. I had this great Christian foundation. So I had the Brazos Valley Coalition for Life next door to my abortion clinic. I had a relationship with the people who were outside, praying in front of my clinic. But I recognized that in a way I was unique in that situation. Even the people that I worked with, a lot of them did not have a support system. A lot of them were single mothers. A lot of them did not have a husband that was supporting them. A lot of them did not have a second income. They did not have parents who were supporting them, who would support them, who would help them. They did not have, I know what the outside of an abortion clinic looks like. I know that not every abortion facility has peaceful, prayerful people standing outside, ready to support them or help them look for a job. So I thought, okay, so I recognize that I'm unique in this sense. So what if it's not me? Right? What if it's not my situation? So who's helping them? And I was surprised, to be quite honest, that there we were at, about 40 years into fighting legalized abortion. And there was nothing. And so I started asking people in the pro-life movement. I started asking friends, leaders in the pro-life movement, why this was, and sort of talking to them about my idea of wanting to start something. And the general consensus was that there were some people, Abby, who were just too far gone. And, that's what clinic workers were. They were just too far gone, and our resources were better spent working with women who were pregnant and reaching out to them and trying to save their babies. And abortion clinic workers, they were just, they were just unrepentant sinners. And why would we waste our time?
Well, that's interesting you say that, because one of the things that struck me in the movie that comes across about your story is that you went into this with good intentions, right? That you sort of got lured into it. And I think that is something a lot of pro-life people don't maybe realize. They just think these must be like just very angry, not good people. But again, is that, do you think that message from the movie is true, that a lot of the people there are obviously doing bad things, but are not but are approaching it thinking they're doing good.
Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why everybody gets involved. I mean,
Right.
I think it's a weird mindset to think that we all grew up in these like liberal, like pro-abortion, like feminazi homes, right? And that we get into the abortion industry just like, with this like bloodlust, can't wait to kill babies, right? That's not who we are. That's not why we got involved. We all got involved with a compassionate belief. Now, albeit it's a misdirected compassion, it's misguided, but we all got into it believing that we were going to be helping women. I've never, out of the 600 people that we have helped leave the abortion industry, not one of them got into it going, I was just really pumped about killing babies. None of them,
Yes.
nobody.
Yes.
Because that person doesn't exist. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just this idea that we wanted to help women. We felt a compassion. Some of us, it was out of empathy. I mean, about 70% of people who work in the abortion industry are post-abortive themselves.
Wow.
So, it's something that we have chosen before in our own lives. And so this is something that we're sort of on a sinking ship, right? So we want to drag as many people in as we can. So yeah, I mean, and so I started this just thinking, I just don't believe that's true. I just don't believe that I mean, look at me, right? I was just a sinner in need of a savior. So why am I any different? Right? I wasn't too far gone, as everybody kept saying. And so I started it really not knowing if it would be successful or not. Why would an abortion clinic worker trust the pro-life movement? I mean, and I didn't know if they would, I mean, here was the movement that's been calling them baby killers and murderers for 40 something years,
Yes.
and I didn't know if they would trust us or not. And to be perfectly honest, they didn't trust the movement, but they trusted me because I was one of them. And little by little, I think with God's help, we've been able to humanize the abortion clinic worker to the pro-life movement. And so we don't hear the word baby killer as much as we used to. We don't hear the word murderers as much as we used to. We don't hear those terms as much as we used to because they're seeing real life people now. And so we're hearing less dehumanizing language because they're seeing that these are just men and women, right? They're just sinners, just like all of us. They just sin differently. And they're in need of God's mercy. They're in need of his grace, of his forgiveness, just like every single one of us.
Well, very true. I mean, our Lord did not say Mary Magdalene was too far gone to be bothered with. But maybe on that point, could you give a little more detail in terms of what help would someone need to get out of Planned Parenthood? Because I think I've heard you say in some speeches, people are like, well, it's just a job, just get another job. So what help would people need to be able to make that transition?
So, it's not, and we hear that a lot. Like, what's the big deal? You want to get another job, get another job. Like, so what? But, leaving the abortion clinic is not like leaving your job at like McDonald's, right? Or like if you work as an insurance agent or something. So first of all, you're working in an industry that survives and thrives on evil. So anytime you recognize that and you flee from evil, there's going to be significant spiritual attack. So our ministry is able to really walk with them and and surround them through that attack, because it is great. It is people, I mean, they can't even believe it. I tell them stories sometimes of things that have happened to our workers after they've left, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe things like that happen. I mean, the enemy will do anything to try to destroy these workers, and to convince them that they've got to go back. They don't have any money. They've got to go back. This happened. How am I going to survive if I don't have this paycheck, or, whatever. I mean, crazy, crazy things. So, so we walk with them through that time. But like, we just had a worker recently who came through our ministry, and when the clinic found out that they had left and they were now pro-life, they got a cease and desist from the abortion clinic. So there are often, they try to bully them through the legal system. So we have a team of attorneys. We work with the Thomas More Society. And so we've got attorneys all over the country who will represent these workers at no cost. So, no problem. You want to try to bully this worker? No problem. So one of our attorneys at Thomas More Society sent a letter back into the abortion clinic today and said, hey, don't mess with her, right? You have no legal standing. You can't send her a cease and desist. She can talk freely about whatever she wants to. She didn't sign an NDA. She didn't sign a confidentiality notice. She can speak about whatever she wants to. P.S. Even if she did sign a confidentiality notice, she can talk about illegal activity all she wants to. So they have legal protections, but the abortion industry will try to bully them into silence. Sometimes they try to buy them. They try to buy their silence. So, we help them find another job. We help them with resume writing. We have a professional resume writer on staff. A lot of times when you have the abortion industry on your resume, it's not a real good look,
Yes.
So we try to make personal connections within the medical field, to try to get them another job. We provide all expense paid healing retreats. We have one actually coming up this weekend. Healing from piecing baby parts back together is quite different.
Wow. Yes.
That's than, having an abortion, or, there's a specific sort of trauma that they need to heal from. So we work with them on that. We have professional licensed counselors that work with them specifically on healing from the trauma that they've experienced. So it's really, it's quite a comprehensive program that we have for them. I mean, really any need they have, we can work with them.
Wow, that is very comprehensive. And our viewers may have recognized the St. Thomas More Society we've talked about a lot. Our own contributor, Chris Ferrara, does a lot of, he has merged with them and does a lot of litigation for them. And so they're a group that does a lot of really good work, and I'm happy to hear they're also doing this. So how can people get involved to help your movement? I assume they can financially donate, but are there other things? Can people get training or anything to or volunteer to help beyond financial, or what can people do?
We don't have a ton of volunteer opportunities. All of the things that we do with our workers are all pretty skilled and specific. But you just never know. You can always email us, and if you have something that you think, I think that they might could use this help or whatever, you can always email us. You can certainly go to our website and find out more about us at abortionworker.com. You can, hear stories. We've got videos, things like that. You can go to our, Facebook pages. You can sign up for our listserv. We have something that we put out every month called Quitter of the Month. And it's sort of a storytelling about one of our quitters that has come through our program, has gone through our healing program. So you sort of get to know them and a little bit about them, and just hear their story and some cool things about them. And you sort of get to share in their healing journey, which is really neat. So you can sign up on our listserv and find out more about that.
Excellent. So again, I showed the website. That's abortionworker.com. So pretty easy to remember. And there's a lot of resources on there in terms of information and stories, which are really great. So that's wonderful. And definitely thank you for the work you're doing. And again, I have to admit, I've been going to Human Life International conferences or doing things in pro-life for, 20 over 20 years, and it's something I feel dumb, like never occurred to me that this is a part of it that we should be doing. Great. Well, we have a couple minutes, and maybe before going, the sort of latest, one of the latest news in the pro-life Catholic community is the nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. I taught for a semester at Notre Dame Law School. I got to meet her very briefly, but I was only there a few days a week that semester. But I followed her professorial career. But wanted to hear, maybe you could share your thoughts, what you know about her, what this may mean for the pro-life movement if she's confirmed.
I'm feeling excited. I mean, hey, I'm a mom of 8. She's a mom of 7. I'm feeling like, large families are doing it, where I'm feeling very hopeful, and I'm just loving it. I'm loving that she's a mom of many children, and she's an adoptive, they're an adoptive family, and they have a special needs son, and just, they're really the embodiment of what it is to be pro-life and pro-family, and just everything that we are, right?
Yes.
As pro-lifers. And I love that. I love that she's young, and I love that my 13-year-old daughter is going to be an adult, and this woman will hopefully still be on the Supreme Court. So I'm just feeling very hopeful. I'm feeling very hopeful for the pro-life movement. And I love that she's Catholic.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, I mean, I spoke at the Republican National Convention this year. I felt like Catholics were so well represented at the RNC this year, man, like Catholics unite, right? Like I feel,
in our report we did on the convention, I was blown away. I said, I stopped watching conventions because they were just pathetic. And I said, to have a nun with a rosary and to have it end with someone singing Ave Maria from the top of the White House is something, if you would ask me even 5 years ago, I said, never happened in this country.
Yeah, I know. Just beautiful. I mean, Sister Dieter in like full habit nun. Okay. Yes. I mean, like, come on. Like, gosh, I mean, just beautiful. And just so many Catholics, and Ave Maria. I mean, come on. It was just beautiful. And now Amy Barrett, Catholic, and nominated for the Supreme Court. And then you sort of juxtapose that with Joe Biden, who is, supposedly Catholic, right?
Yes.
But really has excommunicated himself from the Catholic Church. And it's interesting to see just all of the hoopla about this. It's like, on one hand, these cafeteria Catholics, they love Joe Biden because he is Catholic in name only, but really stands against the core tenets of the Catholic Church. But then they hate Amy Barrett because she actually is Catholic and stands for all of the core tenets of the Catholic Church. And so one minute they're like, oh, we love Joe Biden. And then the next minute they're like, separation of church and state. And it's like, wait a minute, like, hold on, which is it, So it's been interesting to watch sort of their hypocrisy blow up right in their faces during this, and really to watch secular feminism blow up right in their face. Here's a woman who, mainstream feminists should be lauding as a hero, right?
Yes.
But they can't, because she's pro-life, or they won't. They can, but they won't.
Yes.
And so that just shows that it's really not about women's rights or women's equality. It's about one thing and one thing alone, and that is about the right to life in the womb. That's what feminism is based on. That's what mainstream feminism is based on. It's not about equal rights of women. It's not about the pay gap. It's not about anything else, equal treatment of women. It's not about women in the military. It's not about any of those other issues. Mainstream feminism is about one single issue, and it's about abortion. That's it.
Wow. Well, and I agree with you that it's been a long time. And I used to say to people, Roe v. Wade's never going to be overturned, never going to happen. Seems, never in our lifetime. But it does feel like if this appointment goes through, it is actually an achievable outcome that we could
Yeah.
see in the next, in the next several years, as well as you point out, I think the symbolic value, which is not, which we don't want to underestimate, all the things you pointed out, the messages it sends, but particularly I want to focus on the other child with Down syndrome. For the pro-life movement is a huge message of
Mhm.
affirmation, because we lived in Europe, my wife and I, for many years, and we knew several people who were diagnosed when pregnant with Down syndrome or similar condition, and the pressure in Europe. This was 20 years ago. I mean, you were an evil, horrible person that was, doing wrong to society if you didn't kill your child for this. And they've almost eliminated all Down syndrome children from the population because they're so brutally kind of forcing people to do that. And so to, have that president the president refer to that publicly sends a very strong message about the value of people that our society treats as having no value.
Yeah. Well, I
Mm.
mean, that is what they're trying to do in European
Yes.
countries. I mean,
Yes.
that's what Iceland proudly
Yes.
proclaimed. I mean, the president of Iceland proudly proclaimed that they had eradicated Down syndrome. They have not eradicated
No.
Down syndrome. They have simply killed every
Yes.
child in the womb that had Down syndrome. They have not eradicated it. Women are still conceiving children with Down
Yes.
syndrome. They're just killing them before they're
Yes.
born. And they're very proud about it. And they're very proud about it all over Europe. And here in the United States, I mean, you can look at, we don't have a definite number, but it's anywhere between 65 and 95%,
Yes.
depending on the study, of children with Down syndrome are being killed in the womb. And I feel like, we're at a time in our society, really a tipping point in our society where, we're sort of on the cusp of many medical breakthroughs. We see designer babies being made. You can create your baby with a specific eye color now. I mean, there's so much genetic
Mm.
engineering and genetic modifications that can be made. And I mean, just wait. We'll be able to see, if your child can have autism or your child has a gene for this or that or whatever. And when those things start becoming available, the abortion rate is going to skyrocket.
Mm.
And that is it just reeks of eugenics. And it's terrifying. It's
Yes.
terrifying. So what Amy Barrett represents, her family, what they represent is beautiful, and it's absolutely what we need to embrace in our culture and in this country.
Well, excellent, excellent. Well, thank you again. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we wrap up this interview?
I don't think so. Just
No?
everybody keep fighting and keep moving the goal forward.
Yeah.
I feel like good things are on the horizon.
Great, great. Well, thank you again for joining us. And I think you also, I've heard, started a podcast recently. Is
I
that right?
have.
Yes.
Yes. I recorded an episode today. It's called Politely Rude with Abby Johnson.
Politely rude. Well, excellent. So recommend that again after you've listened to our podcast. Then maybe subscribe to Abby's and listen to that. Well, thank you, and we wish you again the best of in your great efforts to fight the abortion industry. And abortionworker.com again for more information. So thank you to our viewers and listeners. Again, if you like this episode, please share it with your friends. Get as many people to listen to the information as possible. And if you really liked it, please consider subscribing to our monthly publication, Catholic Family News, on our website. So thank you, and maybe we'll have a chance to speak again in the future.
That would be great. Thanks so much.